on YouTube, going live on Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened on this date, in the annals of recorded history. I am A.O. Xander.
Golden Loon.
And today we are joined by... You can say your name if you want. Insane? Okay, well, we're joined by clinically...
Okay.
Yeah, we're joined by this guy. Anyway, today is April 28th, Moon's Day, aka Monday, 2025. Now, before we get started, we actually have a reply from Howie himself. Remember we were talking about him, like the Marine and everything?
Yeah.
Now, a little bit of a lengthy reply, and I just want to make a shout out that Governor Howie of Howell County, salute him. But he says, and this is regarding to the anniversary of the Marines invading Tripoli yesterday, back in 1905.
Yeah.
As the song goes, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
Yeah.
He says, U.S. Marines were tasked with shutting down the Barbary pirates that were attacking U.S. merchant ships, so to the shores of Tripoli they went. Interesting is that it was a small contingent of actual U.S. Marines that led a mercenary force inland through the desert and around the naval defenses of Tripoli. I also mentioned Smedley Butler, a famous Marine Corps officer, received 2 Medals of Honor. He fought in China and the Banana Wars. And the Banana Wars, it sounds silly, but it was a serious problem. I think those are the ones that happened involving the cicada and dole bananas in South America, involving slavery. But anyway, I digress. He continues on. A really cool movie scene is from The Wind and the Lion. I got to add that to my repertoire. Not Tripoli, but a play on the idea. The Marine captain double times a company of U.S. Marines and naval contingent through the streets of the city, past the foreign embassies, and captured the Sultan responsible for taking of U.S. hostages. Pure motivation, lol. He continues, another fun fact, the halls of Montezuma refer to the Battle of the Castle Chapultepec in Mexico City. 40 U.S. Marines and 2,500 U.S. Army soldiers fought to take the castle. The Marines took 90% casualties. Whoa.
Ooh.
Wow. Back in the 70s, as a kid, Howie, this is Howie talking, 11 or 12, his family did a road trip through Mexico and they toured the castle. What amazed him the most was driving around the castle and looking up the menacing cliffs that the Marines fought up to take the castle. A purely awesome feat for sure. At 0900 hours, 13th of September in 1847, the castle surrendered. On the U.S. Marine dress blue uniform, we know about their uniforms. NCOs, non-commissioned officers, and officers wear a red stripe on the trousers. The blood stripe is in honor of the NCOs and officers that died in the Battle of Chapultepec.
Wow.
So thank you for that contribution, Howie.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That is awesome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that.
But let's move on up here, starting in the year 224, and let me actually get to this so I can get to the history thing right here. There we go. The Battle of Hermosadan was fought. Ardashir I defeated and killed Artabanus V, effectively ending the Parthian Empire. I never heard of them, but the end of an empire is pretty significant in history right there. So. In 1140, the Palatine Chapel, commissioned by Roger II in one of Norman Sicily's most important buildings, was consecrated on Palm Sunday in Palermo, and it's been a World Heritage Site since 2015, and I actually have a picture of it, so let me bigger this here, and this is what it is. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. In what, 12 or something?
1140. 1140. So,
jeez.
Yeah. Moving on up to 1192, assassination of Conrad of Montferrat, Conrad I, King of Jerusalem and Tyre. 2 days after his title to the throne confirmed by election, the killing was carried out by Hashashayin, and however you pronounce that name. So, 1253, between now to May 7th, Utrecht was destroyed by a fire. So the city of Utrecht. Forgot exactly what country that is, but I believe it's somewhere in Europe. Well, we speak about we don't speak, but I see information about the Bishop of Utrecht all the time in our primary source and whatnot. So Utrecht is a major European city historically, to some degree. 1253, Nishirion, a Japanese Buddhist monk, propounds Namu Moiho, Renej Kyo, for the first time and declared it to be the essence of Buddhism, in effect founding Nichiren Buddhism. And here's a painting of that guy. So that's pretty big right there.
Yeah.
1376, English Good Parliament began meeting in London. It will sit until the July 10th. It was then the longest sitting English Parliament. So I wonder what the longest sitting is nowadays.
Today, yeah.
Yeah. 1376, speaking of the English Parliament, it demanded supervision of royal spending, which, is very acceptable thing to demand. Hey, you're taxing us. We just want to know where our money is going. If you're going to take it mandatorily, we're going to mandate what you spend it on in return. How about that for a concept?
We need some serious adult supervision.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, I just hope people are right about, Musk and Doge and Trump and all that stuff, because, if my superstitions are correct, we are in some serious shit. You're going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, we have no supervision. They allocate money and then goodbye.
Yeah. Well, we spent $750,000 of taxpayer money on figuring out whether or not Thanos can actually snap the Infinity Gauntlet. That was a real thing. What the hell kind of a YouTube content creator shenanigans is our government doing with our money? Ridiculous. Anyway, 1503, and I want to exemplify the importance of utilizing multiple sources for information, not just for history research, but for news and for anything in life. So from our primary source here, we have the battle at Serenalo. Spanish army under Gonzalo Fernandez de Corboda defeated a French force led by Louis de Armagnac, Duke of Nemours. All right. Now, from our other source, we have 1503, the Battle of Serenolaga was fought. It is noted as one of the first European battles in history won by small arms fire using gunpowder. Why don't they tell us that part?
Yeah.
What the hell, primary source?
Yeah.
That's really big. And, here's a picture of it. Look at, he's holding, what the hell is this? This isn't a polearm or a halberd or any of that. What is this?
You can't even stab anybody with that.
Yeah, we need a bayonet. And then, of course, we have halberd in the back over here, just, judging people in the front. And this guy here, the sword is mightier than the gun for now. So, yeah. Until the pen was invented. Moving on up to 1611, establishment of the Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, the Catholic University of the Philippines, oldest existing university in Asia and largest Catholic university in the world. And here's the painting of it, so that's pretty big right there. What else do we got here? 1656, Dutch ship Verglud Draak, Gilt Dragon, laden with 8 chests of silver, wrecked on the western coast of Australia with the loss of 118 lives. And I wonder, has the wreck been found? Has the treasure been reclaimed?
I say let's go look for it.
Well, we got to look to see if there's even still anything there. I don't want to do an expedition without research,
Good reason to get wet, though.
Well, you don't like getting wet.
I love getting wet. I love going in the ocean and getting wet.
There's that.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm not talking about hanging out in the rain.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's raining. Anyway, 1694, we got French-Canadian explorer Louis Joliet set out from Quebec, leading the first documented journey of the Labrador coastline, reached the Zor area. Never heard of any of this, but first documented. Got to give credit where credit is due.
The Zor area,
yeah,
no idea.
No clue. If anyone knows, though, let us know in the comment section. Get a dialogue going. Speaking of which, do we have any comments yet? No, not yet. Moving on up to 1701. English ambassador William Norris was granted an audience with Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in an attempt to gain trading rights for the new East India Company, and it failed, thank goodness, because, Vok, and all these East India companies and all that stuff were just awful things. After the show, of course, I advise people watching, go look up Mitzi Studio Vok. Mitzi Studio is a great channel. They do amazing videos. Also, check out History Bombs while you're at it. But while we're still here, moving on up in 1728, 82 survivors of the Dutch ship Zeewijik sailed into Batavia on a hand-built boat 10 months after being shipwrecked off the western coast of Australia. And I'm just like, well, in 1728, weren't all boats hand-built back then? Now, of course, they're meaning, they don't have, the dry dock and the infrastructure to make something. They're doing it improvised, but, choose better words, because they didn't have industry, really, until the 1800s with the Industrial Revolution. This was about 100 years before that.
Yeah, but they still had to have something there to unload. And
of course, I know what they mean, but, at the end of the day, they're hammering and nailing, hand-building the boat. They don't have tools.
Yeah, right.
You know, like industry. You know. Anyway, 1770, British Captain James Cook aboard the HMS Endeavour first landed in Australia at Botany Bay.
This guy was all over the place.
Yeah. Well, no, we've spoken about this. But, he's an explorer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But we spoke about this a couple weeks back when he discovered Terra Australis. So, 1788, Maryland became the 7th state to ratify the United States Constitution.
Yay!
All right, you know we're forming there. 1 year later, 1789. We got from two sources again here. Fletcher Christian leads a mutiny on the HMS Bounty. The Mutiny on the Bounty.
Old movie.
Yeah, against its captain, William Bligh in the South Pacific. This is obviously a screen cap from the movie there.
Yeah.
And from our other source, Mutiny on the Bounty, Lieutenant William Bligh and 18 sailors were set adrift, and the rebel crew returned to Tahiti briefly before setting sail for Pitcairn Island. So...
Funny is, I think there's an older movie than the one they're showing there.
I believe there are.
Oh, I know. That's the one that came to mind to me immediately. I'm trying to think of the guy's name that was in a very odd-looking guy. Can't think of his name.
Yeah. 1792, France invaded the Austrian Netherlands with present-day Belgium and Luxembourg, beginning the French Revolutionary Wars. 17... Okay. 1818, Rush-Bagot Treaty signed between U.S. President James Monroe and Great Britain, demilitarizing the U.S.-Canada border.
Hey, good deal.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the War of 1812. Okay, so this was after that, shortly after. Because the War of 1812 went from 1812 to 1815 or something like that. I don't know.
I don't remember.
So, 1829, Dutch Parliament accepted new press laws. And what were the laws, old and new? That's a question for our viewers to answer in the comments section. So, speaking of which, we have no comments yet. 1847, George B. Vachon became the first black U.S. citizen to enter a New York State bar. That's an interesting thing to document there. I mean, cool that we know it, but at the same time, with how things are geopolitically these days, is this actual history, or did they shoehorn this in to try to artificially create things? Be like, oh...
And how do you verify that?
Yeah,
Could be lore of some sort.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm glad it's there. I hope it happened exactly what they're saying, but nevertheless.
And see, I just hate this term African American. I mean, call them black. Elon Musk is an African American. He's whiter than me. It's such a stupid, phrase. It's so incorrect. So
I just hate verbally trying to have everybody see color. I just hate it.
Well, I have an idea. Call them Americans.
There you go.
What a concept. Why are you focusing so hard on their differences? Focus on their similarities. It's not difficult. Anyway, let's see here. 1848, slavery was abolished in the French colonies. Good. That's really good. 1855, first veterinary college in the U.S. incorporated in Boston. All right. 1859, the sailing clipper ship Pomona was wrecked off the coast of Ireland with the loss of 424 of the 448 passengers and crew on board. Wow. Wow. That's actually 24 people left. 24 times 2 is 48. So, wow. 1869, now this is awesome. Chinese and Irish laborers for the Central Pacific Railroad working on the first transcontinental railroad laid 10 miles of track in one day, a feat which has never been matched. Not even with modern-day machines.
Really?
How
do you know that?
Well, that's what it says.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just adding.
No. And this is from our other source here.
Oh, okay.
And now I want to bring back up the mud flood. I want to bring this up. A little interesting picture right here. People are saying that the whole thing about us building the railroads is a lie. It was actually digging the railroads back out of under the mud. And right here, what does it look like? That does not look like they're building a railroad. They're looking like they're uncovering it. They're excavating it from the old world order. So, but then again, this picture is apparently.
A lot of presumptions.
Well, that's why I'm saying. Let me finish. This picture is apparently from Siberia after a mud flood, and these tracks were already laid, so they're just undigging them.
Yeah, digging it out.
But do your own research. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just a platform to get you to go and do your own research. Only you can figure out how the truth. So, just take everything with a grain of salt. Moving on up to 1881, Billy the Kid escaped from the Lincoln County Jail in Lincoln. Now, our other source says Mesilla, so I guess before Lincoln was called Lincoln, it was called Mesilla.
I have no idea.
I don't know. In New Mexico. So, 1887, Europe's first motoring competition was won by the Marquis de Dion on a steam-powered quadricycle built by French toy maker and engineer Georges Bouton. French newspaper La Velocipede organized the test, and Bouton was the only participant. Oh, so that's why they have it in quotes with one in the... So it was a competition with one competitor. So, but this is I guess a replica of the car. I mean, it's four wheels. So, but made by a toy maker, making an automobile.
Yeah.
So that is wild right there. Let's get rid of that. What else do we got here? I'm getting ahead of myself and accidentally clicking things. 1887, a week after being arrested by the Prussian secret police, French police inspector Guillaume Chenanblet was released on order of William I, German emperor, defusing a possible war. Good. Like, we need freedom of the press, man. So. 1901, Cleveland's Bach Baker gave up a record 23 singles as White Sox defeated the Blues, the Cleveland Blues, 13-1. And obviously, whoever wrote this is a fan of the Blues because they have it in parentheses, Cleveland Blues. So I've never heard of them. So
it's amazing how far baseball goes back in this country.
Oh man, yeah. 1902. Using the ISO 8601 standard year zero definition for the Gregorian calendar preceded by the Julian calendar, the 1 billionth minute since the start of January 1st, year zero, occurs at 10:40 a.m. on this date. Okay. So, yeah, 1 billionth minute since the start of January 1st, year zero, since the start of time, or at least, the start of AD according to the Gregorian calendar. So, some calendar history there for anybody who understands what that was. 1910, first night air flight by Claude Graham White took place in England. Yeah, that's...
Hope he had a flashlight.
Yeah. 1910, Frenchman Louis Pahoun won the 1910 London to Manchester air race, the first long-distance aeroplane race in the United Kingdom. All right. 1919, first jump with U.S. Army Air Corps ripcord type parachute, Les Irvin. And this is weird. So that was 19... Yeah, that was 19... Okay, 1910. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So hold on a second. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, that was...
1919, right?
Yeah, that was 1919. I guess that's from our other source? I'm not sure, because from our primary source here, it says here, U.S. stuntman and parachute developer Leslie Irvin, at the age of 23, made first premeditated free-fall parachute jump from a plane above the U.S. Army Air Service's McCook Field near Dayton, Ohio. And I actually have a picture right here.
Doesn't say anything about the ripcord, though.
Yeah, well, that's why I utilize multiple sources. But it says here, Leslie Irvin made a free-fall jump to the Type A parachute as Floyd Smith piloted the plane. The manually operated parachute was basically the same one that Smith had designed earlier. So, awesome.
Type A, I don't have no idea what that
No
means.
clue, but, anybody who knows things about, jumping out of planes would, intentionally at least. Anyway, moving on up to 1922, WWII in Ames, Iowa, country's first licensed educational radio station. All right, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Teach people something on the radio? Oh.
Well, we're kind of doing that.
Hopefully.
Yeah. 1923, Wembley Stadium was opened, initially named as the Empire Stadium.
Ah.
And here's a picture of it when it was named the Empire Stadium.
Where's it at again? Wembley Stadium?
Wembley Stadium. Let me look that up here really quick. Wembley Stadium. It is England. Okay. All right. Moving on up, 1925, Netherlands and Great Britain return to the gold standard. We got to do that too. God forbid we actually have intrinsic value on our money beyond itself.
First off, we have to find out if we have any gold left.
I really doubt it. So, 1928, RCA and GE installed 3 test television sets in homes in Schenectady, New York, allowing trials of inventor E.F.W. Alexanderson's first home television receiver. A poor and unsteady 1.5 square inch picture was received from radio transmitter. And, that's...
Amazing it goes that far back.
Yeah. And now we're live streaming on the internet, and I'm not some major industrialist or billionaire. Like, I'm just doing this with a cheap-ass webcam that's 20 years old. Like all over the world. Yeah. Amazing technology. Moving on up to 1930, first night organized baseball game played in Independence, Kansas. And from our other source, we have the Independence producers hosted the first night game in the history of organized baseball in Independence, Kansas. All right. A lot of night things today. Aviation, you know.
I like to play baseball at night far more than day games.
Yeah.
It's just, it wasn't as glary. Could see much better.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And I wear my sunglasses at night. 1931, program for women athletes approved for 1932 Olympics track and field. All right, so now the women are in the Olympic. Good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like 1934, Tigers Goose Gosselin grounded into 4 straight double plays. That sounds impressive. Like, I don't really know much. You're a little out of camera, so there we go. Can you tell us, what's a double play? Like, I don't have a clue. Like,
what's a double play?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I call the cycle the line, for God's sake. So, like, come on.
You get 2 outs on 1 play. That means somebody has to be on base somewhere. Generally, it's somebody on first hits a ground ball. They get it to the second baseman. He throws to first. Double play.
Oh, okay. So he did 4 straight double plays.
Yeah,
that's impressive. While that was going on, though, U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, boo, signed Homeowners Loan Act. You socialist fuck. So I
wonder what the Homeowners Loan Act is.
I'm looking that up right now. The Homeowners Refinancing Act, also known as the Homeowners Loan Act of 1933, and the Homeowners Loan Corporation Act was an act of Congress of the United States passed as part of FDR's New Deal during the Great Depression to help those in danger of losing their homes. The act, which went into effect on June 13th, 1933, provided mortgage assistance to homeowners or would-be homeowners by providing them money or refinancing mortgages. We don't need the government to handle all this stuff. Afuela. So, that's what I have to say about that.
We weren't living in that time, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
So I can't really argue with it at this point. But it has to be temporary. Which
it never is. Yeah. 1937, the first animated cartoon electric sign displayed in New York City. Okay.
Oh, animated electric sign.
Yeah, animated cartoon.
That's cool.
So it has to be Times Square or something, when it was getting started. Like, now it's a giant... Like, have you seen the image of what Times Square would look like without all the advertisements? Like, somebody did a picture of this. Like, let's see here. This is what Times Square would look like without advertisements. Look at all that. Ridiculous. Stop cramming your crap down our throats. We are not consumerist whores, So anyway, what else do we got? 37 as well, first commercial flight across the Pacific operated by Pan Am, Pan American. A lot of aviation history today going on. So, and we also have 1937, South African medical researcher Max Seeler developed the yellow fever vaccine at the Rockefeller Foundation in New York City.
Ooh, that's huge.
A little concern, about, this word and this word. So,
vaccine and what?
Rockefeller.
Oh.
So, 1939, Adolf Hitler claimed German-Polish non-attack treaty still in effect, only to invade on September 1st of that year. Yep. So, 1940, SS Obersturmbannführer, the Lieutenant Colonel Rudolf Hess, not Hess, different Nazi. So Rudolf Hess and Rudolf Hess are 2 different people. Became commandant of the concentration camp Auschwitz. Yeah. And I believe, because we spoke about this yesterday, is when it opened.
Okay, so yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, so now he's appointed.
Yeah, so it needs a leader, 1941, last British troops in Greece surrendered. And that was when, because Italy invaded...
wasn't that big mess?
No, no, you're thinking about Gallipoli, but that was World War I. This is World War II.
Okay.
Italy invaded Greece, and they didn't bode so well, so Germany had to come down and help them, and then that's when the Axis started actually doing things. So Italy was not prepared for World War II at all. So,
no.
But speaking of Greece in World War II, 1941, so this has to be involving this. The Utase... actually, no, this is something else. But the Utase massacre, nearly 200 Serbs in the village of Gudovac, the first massacre of their genocidal campaign against Serbs of the independent state of Croatia.
Serbia's.
Yeah.
Serbians.
Serbians.
Yeah.
No, Serbs.
They're Serbians.
No, Serva, not Serba. With a V, not B.
So maybe it's Serbi. I don't know.
Well,
Servier?
Actually, maybe I misspelled Serbs. Because, like, this is from our other source here, so maybe you're right. Maybe it was Serbs. But anyway, yeah, that's disgusting. Moving on up to 1942, this is really interesting. World War II titled so as a result of a Gallup poll. So this is when the
What's
actual
that?
World War II, the name...
Titles.
So this is when they decided on titling the war.
Oh, man.
That's pretty big.
Oh, man. Huh?
That's pretty big.
Oh, God. But what? A Gallup poll decided the name.
They got to
of
figure
World
it
War
out. I mean, like, we got to name the war something.
II?
So, yeah.
I don't know. Something about that just bugs the hell out of me.
Actually, there's a Doctor.
Let's have a poll.
War One.
What shall we name this world war?
I wanna play this quick clip at risk of copyright infringement, but I'm just gonna play this. So I want you to watch this.
Madness. Am I going mad?
Madness. Well, you're an officer from World War I at the South Pole, being pursued by an alien through frozen time.
Madness was never this good.
World War One.
Judging by the uniform, yes.
Yes, but what do you mean, one?
Oh, like that's nothing to laugh about, man.
No.
Like, can you imagine, like, being that person? Like, now this is a fictitious
Yeah.
thing, of course.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
Doctor Who, but can you imagine being him? What do you mean one?
Yeah.
What do you mean we're dying here for only for it to happen again? This was supposed to be the war to end all wars.
Well, it was called the Great War originally.
but also
Obviously
the
not
war
one.
to end all wars.
Yeah, that's right.
like.
Yeah.
But what do you mean one?
Yeah.
Wow, how soul crushing, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. No.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
mean one?
Yeah. Heavy. Anyway, 1942, the German Luftwaffe estimated to have flown over 11,000 sorties against Malta since 20th of March. So against Malta itself, not during the overall... 11,000 sorties, which are like, you know what a sortie is, right?
Yeah.
11,000 against Malta alone since March 20th. And it's only April. So within a month, a month and change, 11,000 missions to the island nation of Malta.
30, 40 a day.
Fuck. 1942 as well, a nightly dim out began along the U.S. East Coast, so that way, like, they don't see where our cities are to bomb them or to shell them with a submarine,
Blackouts. What do they call it? Dim outs.
Well, they're not blackouts, but they're dimming the lights.
Okay.
They're not completely blacking everything out. So, 1944 here, Exercise Tiger ended with 750 U.S. soldiers dead in D-Day rehearsal after their convoy ships were attacked by German torpedo boats off Slapton Island's Devon. This was actually like this was not an actual invasion. They were rehearsing, trying to. So, but what turned into practice turned into real.
Yeah.
But from our other source, during World War II, 9 German E-boats attacked U.S. and UK units during Exercise Tiger, the rehearsal for the Normandy landings, killing 946. So 946,
You can
950.
see the Germans saying,
Yeah.
they're all together. Let's get them.
Well, no. See, here's the thing. They were mock invading their own. This is Britain right here.
Yeah.
So
they see them as a group and an easy target. Get a lot of them at once.
Yeah.
Brilliant tactical move as far as military.
Yeah. So, but man, like, ain't that a bitch? Like, you're
terrible.
yeah.
They're also idiots.
Well, who's idiots?
The Brits doing that.
Well, you got to practice.
You got to be a little more secure than that. I guess live and learn, or
well, I mean, like, there is no guarantees in war.
No,
there is no such thing as security. But anyway, moving on up to 1945, Benito Mussolini and his mistress Clara Petacchi were shot dead by Walter Audisio, a member of the Italian resistance movement. I thought he was hanged and publicly executed. I didn't realize.
So too.
I did, yeah. Like, is this a Mandela effect? So of course this is Benito Mussolini, and that's his mistress right there. But like, I thought they were publicly executed. I could have sworn. So.
No, I agree with you. That's what I thought.
Yeah. 1945, during the Holocaust, Nazi Germany carried out its final use of gas chambers to execute 33 Upper Austrian socialist and communist leaders in Mauthausen concentration camp. And Clinically Insane here and I actually were talking. He has visited one of these concentration camps. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about it? Are you there? Hello?
Yes, I am.
There he is. You want to tell us a little bit about it, about your trip to one of these camps?
Yeah, I have been today to Treblinka, and it is one of the German Nazi concentration and extinction camps. And this camp is located in like central part of Poland. So most of the Polish people, like not the most, but big part of Polish people and Jewish Polish people went there.
Oh man, I just looked it up here. So Treblinka was the second deadliest extermination camp to be built and operated by Nazi Germany and occupied Poland during World War II. It was in a forest northeast of Warsaw, 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles south of the village of Treblinka in what is now the Masovian Voivodeship. The camp operated between July 23rd, 1942 and October 19th, 1943 as part of Operation Reinhard, the deadliest phase of the final solution. During this time, it is estimated that between 700,000 and 900,000 Jews were murdered in gas chambers, along with 2,000 Romani people. More Jews were murdered at Treblinka than at any other Nazi extermination camp apart from Auschwitz-Birkenau. Yikes.
If I may ask, how sobering was that experience for you?
Can you repeat the question, please? I have not
How sobering was the experience? Like, how did you feel being there? Like,
Oh, okay. Well, I think that it should never happen again. Like,
Absolutely not.
it's,
yeah,
it should be like kept, remembered. No, I don't know how to say it. Like, it should not be forgotten.
yes,
absolutely.
I agree.
Everyone should have this in mind.
It is a disgusting blemish on the history of humanity, but unfortunately, it is a necessary thing. So that way, we know what not to do again. You know.
Hey, well, thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's not very often I get to talk to someone that's actually experienced these things.
Yeah. Moving on up to 1947, Thor Heyerdahl and the crew of the Kon-Tiki sailed from Peru to Polynesia. Okay, like, you know, this is like, okay, whatever. But from our other source, this is why it's in here. Thor Heyerdahl and 5 crewmates set out from Peru on the Kon-Tiki to demonstrate that Peruvian natives could have settled Polynesia. You know, why don't they sell that part? You know?
Yep.
How did they get to Easter Island?
Yeah.
To make the Rapa Nui, you know? Like, so. 1949, former Philippine First Lady Aurora Quizon, at the age of 61, was assassinated while en route to dedicate a hospital in memory of her late husband. Her daughter and 10 others were also killed. And from our other source, the Hukbalahap were accused of assassinating former First Lady of the Philippines, Aurora Quizon, while she was en route to dedicate a hospital in memory of her late husband. And her daughter and 10 others were also killed. So that's pretty much the same thing, but like, this didn't mention anything about the Hukalabap or whatever this is said. This is why, you know, I utilized 2 sources. So, 1952, Dwight D. Eisenhower resigned as Supreme Commander of NATO to campaign in the 1952 United States presidential election. They didn't say that in our primary source.
Yeah.
They just said what he did, not why he did it.
Yeah.
So, and I like Ike, you know. So,
hey, I remember Ike.
yeah. 1952, now this one is incredibly wild, okay? So we just have World War II Pacific Treaty takes effect, okay? Cool. Now, this is the most egregious example I've ever experienced on this show. 2 articles from our other source here. 1952, the Treaty of San Francisco came into effect, restoring Japanese sovereignty and ending a state of war with most of the Allies in World War II. And also, the Sino-Japanese Peace Treaty, aka the Treaty of Taipei, was signed in Taipei, Taiwan, between Japan and the Republic of China to officially end the Second Sino-Japanese War. They rounded that up into a little blip.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Utilized multiple sources. 1956, Cincinnati Reds outfielder Frank Robinson hit his first of 586 home runs. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Frank Robinson, he's a great one.
Yep. Now,
I thought he played with the Baltimore Orioles, though.
might have. I don't know. 1961, Milwaukee Braves future Hall of Fame pitcher Warren Spahn threw his second career no-hitter at 41, defeated the San Francisco Giants 1-0 at County Stadium. 41.
Okay, I got it. Because he's such a great pitcher. It's called. His name was Warren Spahn.
Warren Spahn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I'm
A stickler.
a stickler for
Yeah.
greatness.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, telling me that. So, 1965, Lindsey Nelson broadcasts a baseball game at Houston Astrodome from a hanging gondola. That's interesting. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Now we got
Now, the Houston Astros, when they first came into the league, their name was Houston Colt 45s. Having it after a gun probably was not the best call. So when they opened the Astrodome, then they changed it to the Houston Astros.
I don't know, man. Like,
Could you imagine that settling today? Houston Colt 45s.
Well, I mean, like, I'm for it. Like
Go Texas! All I can say.
The Indians are all support of the team being called the Redskins because they named it and a native freaking drew their icon. But of course, white people have to have white guilt.
To me, when you're naming these teams, I look at it as honoring the past.
Yes.
Washington Redskins, you're honoring the past of people that are indigenous.
Yeah,
I know.
And it's not like white people named it Redskins because we're ignorant. No, the friggin' natives named it that. It's their creation. Why are we getting mad at white people for the creation of non-whites? What the hell?
Yeah.
Madness. Anyway, 1965, the U.S. Marines invaded the Dominican Republic, and then they stayed until October of next year in 1966. And actually, I have
I don't remember that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the United States occupation of the Dominican Republic, U.S. troops landed in the Dominican Republic to forestall establishment of a communist dictatorship and to evacuate U.S. Army troops. So this was...
It had to be a kind of a bleed over from...
well, it's during the Cold War.
Yeah. But
So,
I don't have any recall of that. That's not good.
But yeah, but this is when we started really meddling in other countries' affairs. We need to stop.
We've been doing it for a long time.
Well, yes, but Anyway, 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses induction into Army and was stripped of boxing title.
That was lousy.
Well, I mean, you reap the rewards of living in this society. When you're called to defend it, I don't care what your religion is, go and defend it.
He's the champion of the world, not of the United States. Had he been in Britain and not gone into there, he wouldn't have been.
Elvis Presley served.
Okay.
Good. Various other people served.
I don't say you're being a good guy. I just say you shouldn't be stripped.
No.
It's not right.
Well, we have more on this, actually. So during the Vietnam War, boxer Muhammad Ali refused his induction into the United States Army and was subsequently stripped of his championship and license.
Everything.
So,
yeah.
Well...
And then why years later was he reinstated?
I don't know, man.
And by the way, that was his prime.
I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Muhammad Ali, but I can't help but call him a coward for doing this. I'm sorry.
I don't call him a coward. I am.
When it's your turn to stand up and for the community that has let you become the boxing champion, grab a gun. I'm sorry.
All I can say is I am standing up for. The boxing community had no right to do that because it's a world championship.
Was it the boxing community or was it the government?
Well, I don't think it's run by the government, so it's a.
Well, I mean, the government could have come in and told them to
do that. Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Anyway, 1967 as well, the Douglas Aircraft Company, behind schedule with deliveries of the DC-8 and DC-9 and close to bankruptcy, agreed to merge with the McDonnell Aircraft Corporation and to form McDonnell Douglas.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. 1969, Charles de Gaulle resigned as president of France, one of the greatest leaders that country has ever, one of the greatest leaders the world has ever seen, Charles de Gaulle. If it wasn't for him, the Normandy landings would have never...
part of the resistance?
Oh yeah, no, he led the resistance. Yeah. He started it.
Yeah.
He was leading the government in exile in the British Isles, but he was going through secret telegrams and forming the resistance, out of country. Jean has a long mustache. 1970, during the Vietnam War, U.S. President Richard Nixon formally authorized U.S. combat troops to take part in the Cambodian campaign. That was controversial right there. So. 1971, Samuel Lee Garvey Jr. became the first black admiral in the U.S. Navy. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. 1973, this is crazy. Over 6,000 Mark 82 500-pound bombs detonated over 18 hours in a rail yard in Northern California. 5,500 structures were damaged. The town of Antelope was destroyed, with every building reduced to foundations. This led to the Transportation Safety Act of 1974. Holy crap.
Wow.
Wow. Like,
I don't remember any of that.
yikes.
It's in my state.
Yeah.
How did I not know
Well,
that?
it's in NoCal. Nobody cares about NoCal. SoCal's where it's at, man. So, 1973, The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, recorded in Abbey Road Studios, went #1 on the U.S. Billboard chart, beginning a record-breaking 741-week chart run. Holy crap.
Yeah, they're a great
Holy
band.
crap, dude.
Great band.
Yeah. 1975, Ringo Starr appeared on the Smothers Brothers show singing Hoyt Axton's No No song, and John Lennon was a guest on Tom Snyder's Tomorrow program in what turns out to be his final television interview. Both aired on NBC TV. 75 as well, South Vietnam General Van Minh was sworn in as president until April 30th. And we also have here General Cao Van Vien, chief of the South Vietnamese Army or military, departed for the U.S. as the North Vietnamese Army closed in on Victor. So, wait a minute. So hold on a second. How can he be sworn in and then evacuate? What's going on? This is weird. A lot of stuff is happening at once that kind of contradicts. I mean, how can he be sworn in as a leader and then be like, okay, see ya? You know, like, what the hell?
Well,
like,
I'll project conjecture on my part, but you could be sworn in under fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then it's official and get the hell out.
Yeah.
This all conjecture for me.
I mean, kind of like, like this kind of coincides with what happened with Charles de Gaulle,
Yeah.
Like, although he was leader, he wasn't sworn in and then evacuated, but still, like. Anyway, 1977, U.S. defense employee Christopher John Bryce was convicted for selling secrets of the Soviet Union. We're going to be talking about another rat here.
I think there was a movie made about that, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe. But this is not the last time we're going to be talking about something like this. But we're going to move on up here in 1977. Andreas Bader and members of terrorist group the Red Army faction, the Bader Meinhof gang, were jailed for life after a trial lasting nearly 2 years in Stuttgart, Germany. And from our other source here, the Red Army faction trial ended with Andreas Bader, Gudrun Insulin, and Jen Karl Raspe found guilty on 4 counts of murder and more than 30 counts of attempted murder. Whoa. Well, I mean, they were a terrorist organization, Red Army faction, so, yeah. We also have the Budapest Treaty on the international recognition of the deposit of microorganisms for the purpose of patient procedure was signed. That sounds very important. So, then in 1978, the president of Afghanistan, Mohammed Daoud Khan, was overthrown and assassinated in a coup led by pro-communist rebels.
So much for Khan.
Yeah. 1981, Galician current statute of autonomy. What does this mean?
No idea.
So I put this in here just out of pure confusion. 1983, Argentine government declared all 15 to 30,000 missing persons are dead. What happened?
That's it? That's all you're going to tell us?
What happened in Argentina where 15 to 30,000 people went missing? Why are we pronouncing them dead? What happened? What's going on? I need more meat. Give us some comments. Speaking of comments, hey, toxic masculinity. Lamau, they be censoring. Yeah, they do be censoring heavily, bro. Do we have anything on Rumble yet? No, not yet. Let's see here. In 1983, NASA launched GEOS-F. What was that? Let me take a surface level scratch
a
on
rocket
this
of some sort.
Well, it's a free online flight simulator now, but here, let me look it up. 1983. Here we go. GEOS-6, also known as GEOS-F. Before becoming operational, was a geostationary weather satellite which was operated by the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration as part of the Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite System. Okay, so cool. 1983, the West German news magazine Stern, and hold on a second, oh yeah, this was from the gas chamber thing, so let me get rid of that. That's a picture of them on that boat, remember, just to see if they could sail the Polynesia.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
a picture
yeah.
of it there.
Yeah.
I forgot that I had pictures to show and everything. All right, we're done with these pictures. So the West German news magazine Stern began publishing excerpts from the purported diaries of Adolf Hitler, but they were later revealed to be forgeries.
Oh.
Yeah. 1985, Billy Martin was named New York Yankee manager for the 4th time. You know,
They
hey.
fired that guy so many times.
Oh yeah.
Probably 4.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why this is his 4th time.
Yeah.
1985 as well. Fernando Valenzuela,
Yeah.
not Venezuela,
No, Valenzuela. Yeah.
set record of 41 scoreless innings to start season. Holy crap! Wow.
Yeah, they went
To
nuts
start
for it.
season. He's a baseball version of me with Scroop. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So, 1986, Soviet TV news program Vremya announced a nuclear accident at Chernobyl nuclear power station 2 days after the event. Now this really raised my eyebrow because we spoke, on Saturday a couple days ago was the anniversary of Chernobyl. Mm-hmm. We didn't do a history show then, unfortunately, but our history show yesterday we spoke about them evacuating Pripyat. Now here's the thing. Our source is leftist, and our source is actually probably pro-communist because, let me read this next part here from our other source. High levels of radiation resulting from the Chernobyl disaster were detected at Forsmark nuclear power plant in Sweden, leading Soviet authorities to publicly announce the accident. Why is our primary source writing it in a way to avoid Soviet fault? The way it's written. It says Soviet TV news program announces a nuclear accident, so they make it sound like they're doing it willingly. No, they did it because they got caught.
Yeah, well, it gets up in the atmosphere. It doesn't stay right where it's at. So all of a sudden they were getting readings down at, what was it, Switzerland? I forget now.
Sweden.
Sweden. Now someone has to answer, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
So they got busted.
But yeah, weird how the primary source sounds like pro-communist propaganda.
Yeah.
Even to this day. Why do they not say the reason why?
Well, the propaganda by omittance.
Yeah, exactly. 1987, U.S. engineer Ben Linder was killed in an ambush by U.S.-funded Contras in northern Nicaragua. So, U.S. soldiers killing U.S. citizens. Okay. Not good. Now, this one is weird. 1988, actually, they got rid of it. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's changed. It just said, and Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Orlando, Florida in 1989. But, it's gone.
So you don't know what the core was.
Yeah, they changed it between last night, 1987, and here's all the 1988s. Where is it? Actually, is this it? It says Baltimore Orioles lost American League record 21 games in a row. This wasn't there last night. I would have put this in here. So, actually, I'm gonna add this in right now. So let me copy. So, right there. Question mark. There we go. 1980 as well. Aloha Airlines Boeing 737 roof tore off in flight and kills a stewardess.
Oh man.
Now
Aloha Airlines. That sounds like a biggie.
Yeah. Well, aloha, means hello and goodbye.
Yeah.
Aloha. Not to make light on somebody dying, but
No.
but
Oh,
see,
God.
but see, no, but
Connect the dots. You saying that?
I'm fucked up in the
geez.
brain. Come on.
Oh, jeez.
But now from our other source, it gives us more meat. Near Maui, Hawaii, flight attendant Clarabelle C.B. Lansing was blown out of Aloha Airlines Flight 243, a Boeing 737, and fell to her death when part of the plane's fuselage ripped open in mid-flight.
Sucked her out.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it's scary. 1988, Baltimore Orioles... Oh, we did cover this. So I have no idea what the hell this one was. So let me get rid of this.
Okay.
This is 1988. Baltimore Orioles lost American League record 21 games in a row. We went over this.
Yeah.
We also have the New Jersey Devils set all-time playoff mark for penalty minutes.
That's hockey.
Yeah. 1989, Argentina, hit by rocketing inflation, ran out of money. Uh-oh. That's not good. What do you do now?
You ran out of money. I don't get that.
The government ran out of money. Yikes.
Print more.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the solution. 1989, Iran protests the sale of Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie.
Oh, I
Rushdie.
remember that.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever killed him. They sure tried.
I think they probably did. Well, his last name is Rushdie, so I mean, like, he's trying to rush to his death, I guess. 1990, Boston Celtics scored most points in a playoff, defeating the New York Knicks 157 to 128.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, 157. That's a bunch.
Forgot to put my microphone here. We also have the last issue of Dutch Communist daily Die Waarheid, also known as The Truth.
What year is that?
1990.
Okay.
Damn commies and their The Truth. Oh, this is the truth. This is the real. Oh, shut up with your propaganda. 1991, the Space Shuttle STS-39 Discovery 12 was launched. Okay, that's a nothing article, but from our other source, Space Shuttle Discovery launched on STS-39, the first unclassified shuttle mission for the United States Department of Defense. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, 1993, Carlo Ciampi formed Italian government with ex-communists. That's concerning. So at least they're ex-communists. At least they're headed the right way. If they're truly no longer communists, only time will tell.
Didn't tell us what they were, what they changed to, though.
Well, they're no longer communists. So unless they became fascists, there's nothing to go but up.
Socialists.
Social communism is socialism. So.
Well, to degrees, so.
1993, Zambian national football team dies. The entire team dies in a plane crash near Libreville, Gabon, that kills 30 people. Yikes.
Means they're all young.
Yeah. 1994, Aldrich Ames, former CIA officer, and his wife Rosario pled guilty for spying for the Soviet Union and Russia. So, like former Central Intelligence Agency counterintelligence officer and analyst Aldrich Ames pled guilty to giving U.S. secrets to the Soviet Union and later Russia.
Yeah.
So they kept going.
Yeah.
So rats. Snitches get stitches, man. Loose lips sink ships. 1996, in Australia's worst massacre in modern history, Martin Bryant shot and killed 35 people in Port Arthur, Tasmania, led to a compulsory gun buyback program and major changes to gun control laws. And we have here from our other source, Port Arthur Massacre, Tasmania. A gunman, Martin Bryant, opened fire at the Broad Arrow Cafe in Port Arthur, Tasmania, killing 35 people and wounding 23 others. And now Australia is back to being a penal colony because gun laws do not affect criminals. All it does is prevent people from standing up for themselves until the police arrive. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. So, 1996, Whitewater controversy. President Bill Clinton gave a 4.5-hour videotape testimony for the defense.
Yeah.
Is that Monica Lewinsky? I don't remember. The Whitewater controversy. Like, how much BS did this Democrat cause? So.
I think it was.
And of course, they don't talk about this on our main source here. The left have to protect themselves because they're a bunch of scumbags. Anyway, 1997, and I only added this for the question I have afterwards. Jekyll and Hyde opened at Plymouth Theater in New York City. Do you remember when we went to New York, we went to that Jekyll and Hyde themed restaurant?
Yeah.
And the elevator smelled of death?
Yeah.
Like, that was way too pungent.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a place to have a meal as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. But, it's a really... So if you ever end up in Manhattan, go check out, among your, tourist things... Go check out the Jekyll and Hyde Club if it's still around. Really interesting. They have like
oh yeah, it was cool.
They have like animatronic things on the wall, and people talk to you while you're eating.
Yeah.
Costumed waiters. It's awesome. It was a fun experience.
Yeah. Really
like that
well
was
thought out.
That was back in 2004 we went. 21 years later, I still remember it. That's how great it was. So. 2001, we are now in the millennium. This is our home stretch here. Millionaire Dennis Tito became the world's first space tourist. And let's talk about the wastes of space, the cargo that went up recently. All those women who think they're astronauts. They're just astronauts, So
they got an e-ticket ride from a billionaire.
They were only 65 miles above the Earth. Planes have gone up higher than that. Or 60...
I don't know.
Or 65,000 miles, not 65 miles, but 65,000 miles. But no, it's fact. There were
it now 65,000 miles up. No
probably
way.
not fast. 65 miles. Yeah, no. Not, I was thinking feet, not miles. So 65 miles. They're now, like, now they're high stratosphere airplanes. They're not commercial flights flying up, but airplanes have flown higher than that. They were on the very cusp of space. They were just cargo. They were waste of space. They are not astronauts. They are not doing anything for humanity. They are nothing more than space tourists with giant egos.
It was a promo. I don't know if it's for feminism or what, but it was a promo.
It's just all garbage. So, anyway, 2004, Shrek the sheep from Taras, Central Otago in New Zealand, was finally shorn live on TV after 6 years avoidance. The fleece weighed 27 kilograms or 60 pounds. So let me look this up. So this was a sheep that had somehow like escaped the pen or whatever, and it was just out there in the wild for 6 years, and nobody had shorn him. So this is what he looked like. Look at that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this is him now.
Give me a haircut, please.
Yeah. In 2004, CBS News released evidence of the Abu Ghraib torture and prisoner abuse. The photograph showed struggle, snuggle, and abuse from the U.S. troops over Iraqi detainees.
Yeah.
I remember when that blew up.
Big time.
Oh my God.
That was horrible.
Yeah. The people we were doing it to may be horrible. They may have, disgusting beliefs.
You don't treat people that way.
We do not treat them because we only validate their actions to us.
Yeah.
We got to show them that we are better.
Yeah.
2005, the Patent Law Treaty went into effect. I have no idea what that is, but we're almost at an hour in, so we got to keep going. 2017, so if anybody can let us know in the comments section. Speaking of comments, do we have any more comments here? Nope. Gwyneth Paltrow, brand Goop, and Condé Nast announced they will be launching a quarterly publication together. Remember Goop? I know you don't, but it's a whole thing. Gwyneth Paltrow is a lunatic. So him and her and what's his face who launched that Crystal Skull vodka from the Ghostbusters. I forgot the actor's name. Whatever. Actors are crazy. Anyway, 2018. This one's kind of cool. Speaking of crazy actors, Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito Day declared in Jersey for 17th of November by Mayor John Moore of Asbury Park. Happy Danny DeVito Day.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started blasting. 2018 as well.
Penguin.
Yeah. 2018 as well. Indian government announced electricity has now reached every Indian village. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 20th century, India. 2018, Shaquem Griffin was the first one-handed person to be drafted into the NFL, selected by the Seattle Seahawks. All right. Just hopefully he's not a catcher. I mean, how good could he do it with one hand? I mean, I'm sure he's good, but
Well, most likely he's a lineman or something like that. He's not going to be a tight end or a wide receiver or anything like that.
What I hope is if he does an amazing play and he just stumps the other team.
Oh.
You got to hand it to me. That was a good.
No, cut it. Cut it.
What, you're going to give me the finger?
Yes.
2018 as well, the world's largest child sacrifice, 140 remains uncovered by archaeologists near Trujillo, Peru, dating back 550 years to Shimu civilization. So, wow. And we still have child sacrifices today and abortions. So, 2019, U.S. diver Victor Vescovo made the deepest dive ever to the bottom of the Mariana Trench at 10,927 meters, or 35,849 feet, and found a plastic bag. Oh, man.
Oh, no!
Fuck.
Oh, no! Oh, no! I was not expecting that.
I didn't read the whole thing either. I was just like, okay, cool, deepest dive, all right.
Plastic bag.
Wow. God, humanity is a freaking cancer, I swear. Now, 2019, I don't give a fiddler's fuck about Disney, but Disney says, Marvel's film Avengers Endgame made an estimated $1.2 billion worldwide. First film to make more than $1 billion at opening. Now, once again, it says Disney says, so this is their hearsay. So I wonder if this is actually true or if this is just Disney propaganda.
Well, it has to be somewhat true. There has to be some basis to it because they have... they're a publicly traded company, so they have to.
Not necessarily anymore in today's world, unfortunately. But also in 2019, largest demonstration since 2014 in Hong Kong over plans to change law to send suspects to mainland China for trial. Yeah, this was a big
that
thing.
was a mess.
Yeah. And then, what happened shortly after that? The Kung flu, and then they really came in and oppressed them.
Yeah, they squashed Hong Kong all the way.
We also have Spanish general election. No party won a majority, but socialists under Pedro Sanchez win most with 29%. Great, socialists. That's what they need. 2019 as well, the TV series Game of Thrones: A Long Night episode debut. With the longest battle ever screened at nearly 80 minutes, surpassing the Lord of the Rings' Battle of Helm's Deep, which was 44 minutes. I gotta watch this. Game of Thrones, great series until a certain time. I've never seen it. I've never seen
any of it.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen, what was it? Tiger King
Never seen
was
any of that
a
stuff.
major thing in the day, So, 2020, the U.S. Department of Defense released 3 declassified videos of possible UFOs from 2004 and 2015. More of this Project Blue meme crap. So. 2021, NASA's Parker Solar Probe became the first spacecraft to cross the Alphen critical boundary, the outer atmosphere of the sun. The outer atmosphere of the sun. We're penetrating the sun, boys. Holy crap! Now, how we had material that could withstand the heat is beyond my understanding.
I don't know how far out that atmosphere is, but it seems like you're way too close.
Yeah.
Should have been vaporized in some way, but I don't know.
Now, 2021 as well, Joe Biden, let's go, Brandon, made a major speech to a joint session of Congress calling for a new era of government spending, which was overspending.
Let's do more.
Yeah, overspending and causing a financial collapse we will not understand for another several decades. The whole world, not just the United States, the whole world is going to be in hurt.
It's in debt.
We
The whole
think
world's
we're
in debt.
we think we're hurting now. Oh no! We're living the easy life now. In about 5-10 years, that's when we will start hurting. So, 2022, Russian missiles struck Ukrainian city of Kiev during a visit by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Holy crap! Can you imagine being there and all of a sudden missiles start coming in?
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, that reminds me. I'm going to, let's see if I can find this video really quick. Actually, I have
We're
it.
out of time, really.
Well, we are, but did I save it in documents or downloads? No, it's not there. Downloads, no, it's not there. Videos, here it is. I want to play this really quick.
Those are good. Everybody let them go. Everybody let them go. Full volley, full volley. Oh my.
Yeah, no. I mean, it regards missiles, and that's something that we did yesterday. I was involved in that operation, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Howell County Naval Shipyards and Script Ferries United. If you play Foxhole or you're interested in military games, go check it out. Anyway, 2023, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva decreed 6 new indigenous reserves covering 620,000 hectares, or 1.5 million acres, with bans on mining and restrictions on commercial farming. 2023 as well, Taiwanese political TV drama Wave Makers debuted on Netflix, went on to excite a hashtag #MeToo movement in Taiwan. No. Pardon me. Now, something I knew of a while ago and I had forgotten, and then a friend of mine remembered me. What is this sign here? What was it called? Back in the day.
I don't know.
The pound key. On the phone.
Oh, okay.
So pound me too. Are you kidding me? Wow. These progressives have no idea how stupid they are. Anyway, last but not least, 2024, just last year, we have 2 articles. A worse than usual rainy season across East Africa due to El Nino killed at least 155 people in Tanzania and 60 in Kenya, with hundreds of thousands displaced. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah. And at least 37 mostly nocturnal tornadoes caused widespread devastation and 4 deaths in Oklahoma. Nocturnal, what? Do they go to bed in the morning?
Night.
I know what it means. I'm making a joke.
A bad one.
Well, of course it's a bad one. It's me. I was raised by a Canadian. What do you expect?
He had no chance.
No, I was screwed from the get-go. Anyway, that shall be it for the show today. I know it was long, but it was awesome. Please check the underbar, description for anything that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made every day. We can only bring you a portion. Please check our sources. For your dose of past events daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
Golden Loon.
And we had Clinically Insane here for most of the show, and Toxic Masculinity for commenting. Thank you very much. And of course, you viewer are you. Thank you for joining us, whether you watched us live or some point in the space-time continuum. It's regardless of you as a view, and your patronage is very well appreciated. Until you catch us next time, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!